We all know that the answer to life, the universe and everything is the number 42. And it just so happens to be the episode number of this month's Flat Earth Fail compilation. What does this mean? Who knows? I just know that the Flat Earthers are failing as hard as ever. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as much as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves a lord or lady. The title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, plus a certificate with an official crest. And your certificate has a unique plot number so you can look up the exact location of your land. It really does make a great last minute gift, and they even have couple packs as well that come with adjoining plots of land. You could officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it on credit cards, plane tickets, your coffee, whatever you want, you can be a lord on it. My favourite thing, of course, about Established Titles is that they plant a tree with every single order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. It's essentially a fun, novel way to help preserve the picturesque woodlands and biodiversity of Scotland while supporting global afforestation efforts. Established Titles have told me that the first 200 people purchasing a titles pack will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes walk. Depending on how many of you want to be a lord or a lady, we can start building that Simon kingdom as soon as possible. It really does make a great last minute gift. Established Titles is running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use my code SIMANDAN, you get an additional 10% off. So go to establishedtitles.com/SimanDan to get your gift and help support the channel now. Right, back to today's video, which, as I stated at the start, is the Flat Earth Fail compilation, episode number 42. And we start with our old favourite Level Earth observer, who almost immediately is having a pop at NASA's Artemis 1. Of course he is.
Check this tosh out, fresh off the press. The so-called return to the moon, Artemis 1. And what do we get? Look! Look at the state of it.
Really? A small glitch like that and you're complaining?
And as we continue to marvel in this spectacular image here in Mission Control Houston, you have a great view of the Orbital Maneuvering System, or OMS, and
Marvel? Have you been on them wild mushrooms again, my dear? You're showing the Earth to be something that's scientifically impossible. But you're doing it in a mocking fashion here. We've got Thunderbird-style spacecraft, a daft globe Earth, which of course is ridiculous. Long gone is the conversation about the shape of the Earth. It's demonstrably level, tested and verified by all. So there's no marvel here. This is ridiculous. I thought they might at least try and up their game to help out their deluded fans. But look!
Level Earth Observer, it is what it is. It's a video stream taken from Artemis 1, and that's how the Earth was looking at that time. Interestingly, here is a comparison of Earth from Artemis 1 and the Epic camera taken at roughly the same time. Just saying, Leo.
in that main engine on the top left of your screen there that was used 1 hour and 43 minutes ago to perform the OTC, or outbound trajectory correction maneuver, as well as a few of the auxiliary engines on the bottom of the European service module, flanked by the solar array wing on the right portion, right above the.
That's enough of that glitching out, my dear. It's not easy, is it, to big up bull? And, you know, I can see you're struggling. And no doubt because it looks ridiculous. Why? Because it is ridiculous. Even if I was a globe believer, you know, say I banged me head and I just thought reality was exactly the opposite to what could be tested and verified by all, and I had all the Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica box sets to help me on my deluded journey. Even then, I'd be looking at this and thinking, that is terrible, lads. Terrible.
The problem for you guys is, as time goes on and the Artemis missions continue, you're going to have more and more footage to try and discredit. And eventually people will be walking on the moon again, so what are you going to do then? Moving on, and next up we have a channel called The Daniel, who apparently thinks that the salt flats prove flat Earth.
The Bonneville salt flats in Utah 100% prove flat Earth, and this is why.
And by 100% you mean 0%, yes?
They're 12 miles long and 5 miles wide, and there's no more than a 7-foot grade, a 7-foot slope, no more than 7 feet. So to the right, to the left, up or down, there's no more of a 7-foot differentiation in height.
Oh dear, someone is confusing elevation with drop again, aren't they?
That means there's no curvature. 7 feet, over 12 miles, and you don't have more than a 7-foot elevation.
Yep, dear oh dear.
Any which way you measure it, there's no more than 7 feet. And the best way to measure it, because debunkers always want to add light infraction, and they want to call things mirages.
Light infraction. Infraction? Yes, let's listen to this guy over all scientists ever.
So you measure it from the bottom up. So you take sticks that are the same height, and you pound them into the ground, and you run strings. You run strings to them, and then you measure from the bottom up, and you get your slope. That's how farmers do it. Farmers don't want more than a 5-inch slope. Otherwise, the water runs down their fields and doesn't water their crops, because water runs downhill. Another proof of flat Earth.
Yes, topography certainly is proof of flat Earth, isn't it? Is this guy serious?
But the Bonneville salt flats absolutely prove flat Earth. And you'll go on the internet and you'll see debunking sites that say it doesn't prove flat Earth. They take a picture from like a mile away and they take it at an angle and they try to show a slope because they're looking down on it. And they're looking down at it from an angle to show you a slope.
Looking down on something doesn't make it slope. Here is the picture in question. As you can see, lovely proof that the salt flats follow Earth's curvature.
You can measure it and you can't find curvature that would fit a Earth that has a circumference of 20,000 miles in circumference. At 25,000 miles in circumference, you square the mile, so at every mile it should be 8 inches squared. So at 1 mile it's 8 inches, at 2 miles it's 32 inches, at 3 miles it's 72 inches, and so on and so forth.
And that is not the correct formula for curvature, as I've stated many, many, many times.
And there's no more than a 7-foot curve. If it is a curve, it's not a curve, it's a slope. It's an elevation game. We don't know in which direction it's in, but it 100% proves flat Earth. Oh, and by the way, there's another salt flats in Bolivia that are 4,000 miles, 4,000 square miles. Guess what the slope is? Guess what the elevation gain is? 1 meter.
Elevation gain is not drop. How many times do we have to say it? Oh, this man is incredible. Let's move on again to a channel called the Queenz, who says that sun zones, whatever they are, prove a flat Earth. Here we go.
There are 5 countries that receive continuous sunlight or continuous darkness at some point every year. Finland experiences no sunlight during its winter. Sweden has constant sunshine for nearly 6 months. The sun doesn't set at all in Alaska from late May to late July. In Iceland the sun never fully sets and travels horizontally across the horizon throughout the night. Also in Iceland, there is no darkness from early May till July, because sun is above the horizon at all times during that period. And Canada sees continuous sunlight for about 50 days in the summer, in places like Inuvik and the Northwest Territories.
Okay, so what? The Earth is tilted, and depending on the time of year, the poles will receive either hardly any sunlight at all or constant sunlight. What's the issue here?
Sweden is said to be nearly 2,000 miles south of the North Pole. The Earth's diameter is said to be nearly 8,000 miles. So the distance from Sweden to the North Pole would equal up to about 25% of the Earth's diameter. Yet the distance from Alaska to New Zealand is about 7,300 miles and nearly accounts for all of the Earth's physical surfaces, excluding a few islands I may not have named. So saying that the Earth's diameter is 8,000 miles, interestingly aligns with the stretch of the Earth's surface.
Diameter is not circumference, is it? And actually the very top of Sweden is only 1,450 miles away from the North Pole. I'm failing to understand their point here.
Now, let's talk about the oceans for a moment. First, the Pacific Ocean alone is nearly 9,000 miles wide, the Indian Ocean is nearly 7,000 miles, the Atlantic Ocean is nearly 3,000 miles wide between Africa and the United States, and the Arctic Ocean is nearly 1,500 miles wide. All of these oceans are eerily still in the scope of the Earth's alleged diameter of 8,000 miles and therefore does not account nor need to account for any alleged bulge of a ball.
But the diameter is a line that runs right through the ball, it dissects it. Look, this is the Earth diameter, and this is the circumference, so I really don't know how listing the Earth's ocean sizes debunks anything.
The Earth is perfectly horizontal and the oceans and the continents all fit within the scope of the Earth's diameter. Now moving back to sun zones. One thing I found interesting about the 5 countries that either receive continuous sunlight or continuous darkness is, they all lie at the north of their continents as pictured on my diagram.
You don't say. I mean, the Earth being tilted and everything, you would sort of expect that, wouldn't you?
Globe Earth believers like to say that the North Pole and the South Pole are interchangeable. But if that were true, why are there no countries in the south of the continents, experiencing months of sunlight or months of darkness?
Because there are no countries near the South Polar Circle. Antarctica does, but no other countries.
The alleged Antarctic South Pole is a lot colder than the alleged Arctic North Pole, because based on my diagram, they clearly cannot be what they say they are and they are not interchangeable. If they were, again, countries in the south of the continents would also experience months of sunlight or months of darkness. Globe Earth fail.
This has to be one of the hardest failures I've ever seen from Flat Earth. Just awful, truly awful. Dear oh dear. Right, moving on, and our final fail from today is from CC Chris from New York, Westchester County, and it appears he's having a silent disco. You all right, Chris? Hello? I'm really confused. Is he okay?
Same day. Probably enjoying this amazing light show. And I'll tell you, it really is. Let me show you. Lights on.
I thought he had voice activation then, but he just said it before flicking the switch. Amazing.
The reason why I purchased this is because of the dome.
Of course it is.
Take a look at that. That's a product from CVS. Yes, it is. You know what I find really amazing about it is that the light is actually being projected from the bottom, and that's how you're getting this spectacular light show.
Comparisons with Earth incoming.
And that's what I believe is going on. The sun and the moon.
I knew it.
It's being projected, but not from outside, from inside. Alright, so the last video that I made, did you see the glowing neon light? That blue light that you see? I mean, we know that the moon is projecting cold. Okay.
Except it's not. We've shown this many, many, many times. It's a phenomenon called radiative cooling.
We all know that the sun is projecting heat. Okay. And there is no relationship with the sun and the moon.
So how does the sun project heat onto us when it itself is a projection?
Oh man, you know it sucks, guys. I bought all of this. I bought everything. I was hook, line, and sinker with Star Trek, Star Wars, all the... Okay, you know what? That's it, I'm done. I thank you for subbing, I thank you for reviewing my videos, and let me be part of your life.
Wow, well, there we go. An interesting take from CC there, but of course, completely wrong all the same. Well, there we go, another episode of Flat Earth Fail compilation, all wrapped up and done and dusted. Episode 44, episode 42, all completed. Thank you so much for watching. It truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed this one, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We're going for 500,000 subscribers. If you really enjoyed it, hit that like button and you can go back and look at all other 41 Flat Earth Fail compilations. Still number 1 or 2 are my favourites. Please do go check them out. There's a playlist for all of them. Just enough time to once again thank Established Titles for sponsoring today's video. Remember, go to establishedtitles.com/SimonDan and use my promo code SimonDan to get an extra 10% off to get your gifts and help support the channel now. I've been Simon Dan. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Tuesday for the takedown of an absolute sporting legend. See you then.